Do you receive supplemental security income from Social Security, Veterans Affairs, or Social Security disability insurance benefits? If so, the federal government may be able to provide you with a one-time payment of up to $2,000. This sizable cash payment is a part of a new financial aid program, and millions of Americans might be eligible. This video will walk you through every step of the process of receiving this money as soon as possible. It will cover who is qualified, how much you may anticipate receiving, the payment time frame, and how to make sure you obtain your money without any problems. So stay tuned for all the information on this significant payoff. The $2,800 payments are a result of the Inflation Adjustment Act, a recent piece of law that increased the price of food due to inflation. Gas utilities, among other things, have been difficult for many Americans to earn a living to somewhat offset these rising expenses, particularly for households with low incomes. The receivers of these one-time payments from various significant federal welfare programs have been approved by the federal government. Below is a brief summary of the potential recipients of the $2,800 payments. Beneficiaries of Social Security retirement benefits, disability benefits from Social Security recipients of supplemental security income, veterans getting VA benefits, and Social Security survivors. The maximum payment amount per person is $2,800, although the precise amount will differ depending on your unique circumstances, including your benefit amount, marital status, dependency, and other considerations. Now, it's crucial to remember these are one-time lump sum payments that beneficiaries may get if they meet the eligibility requirements based on their income level. These payments are not recurrent or monthly. Over $25 billion has been set aside by Congress from the funds that were left over from earlier COVID-19 relief measures to pay for this additional inflation aid. For many people living on low incomes, this additional payment could provide some much-needed financial breathing room. Even though $2,800 may not seem like much, payments are scheduled to begin in. Let's go into the specifics of how these payments will operate and what you need to do to obtain yours. In a few weeks, the first beneficiaries should see their money as early as mid-May, based on the current pace. Federal agencies such as the Social Security Administration and VA will identify eligible recipients automatically and send out the payments. If you are already receiving benefits from one of these major federal programs, you should get the payment automatically deposited. If not, you will need to complete a complex application process. The majority of Social Security users who have chosen direct deposit, you will typically get your monthly benefit. Close it with the SSA. For individuals receiving SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits, the $2,800 will simply appear in the bank account where your monthly payments are deposited. You don't need to fill out any additional forms or applications in order to receive this money. It will be issued through the established payment methods. Beneficiaries who received paper checks for their tax refunds are the only exception, and you might need to file an extra form to get this payment. However, for the great majority of recipients who receive direct deposit for their regular benefits, the one piece of information you might need to supply, if you haven't previously, is that the payment should arrive immediately and you won't need to take any further action. Is your bank account information for direct deposit? So if you presently receive paper checks for your benefits, you should set up electronic payments to make sure you receive this help directly into your bank account. An important question to ask is whether there are any income thresholds or limits that find out if you are eligible to get the full $2,800 payment. The simple answer is sort of. However, the standards for payment stipulate that the income cap is rather high. Federal recipients who earn less than $150,000 for married couples or less than $75,000 for individuals per year are eligible for the maximum $2,800 per person. So if your household income is less than those amounts, you should receive the full payment amount. For those whose incomes are higher than that threshold, the payment amount begins to phase down gradually. For every $1,000 over the income limit, you will receive a $100 reduction in payment, but overall, the majority of federal beneficiaries should be eligible for the entire $2,800 payment if they meet the $75,000, $150,000 cutoff. If they have dependent children or other qualifying dependents living in their home, they may also be eligible for an additional payment. The way payments are made offers an extra. If you follow the current time frame provided by the IRS and Social Security Administration, you should be able to anticipate receiving your inflation relief payment in the exact amount of $800 per dependent, up to a maximum of 3 dependents. The VA has stated that payments will begin to be sent to beneficiaries who already have their direct deposit information on file on Monday. For beneficiaries who are currently receiving paper checks, it may take a few more weeks for those payments to be processed and mailed out. Beginning of June, and SSI claimants could anticipate receiving their benefits by the end of June or the beginning of July, based on government estimates. Of course, these dates could change slightly, but that's the current broad time frame they're aiming for. This will be a rolling process over time. The late spring or early summer, depending on which organization is in charge of your specific benefits, to verify who is eligible for these special $2,800 in payments. Let's review the particular requirements for eligibility. If you now get Social Security retirement benefits and your income is below the previously indicated thresholds, you ought to receive the $2,800 payment automatically. This is true for single people, as well as married couples who are receiving retirement benefits. Social Security survivors should also be eligible for the payout. However, income limits still apply to people who receive Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI. In contrast to conventional Social Security payments, disability beneficiaries who meet the $75,000, $150,000 income cutoffs are eligible for Supplementary Security Income, or SSI, which also comes with a one-time $2,800 payment. Since there are no starting income or labor credit criteria for SSI, practically all current participants should be LI4 and obtain the payment, provided they continue to satisfy the program's additional non-income requirements regarding assets, resources, residency, and other relevant variables for veterans getting VA benefits. The suitability operates somewhat differently and is dependent upon the particular disability rating that the VA has assigned you. The regulations as of right now, veterans with lesser disability ratings between 30 and 60% will be eligible for the maximum $2,800 award if their assessment is 70% or above. Veterans with disability ratings of less than 30% or without any rating are regrettably not eligible for the reduced payment amount. The VA will utilize your current disability rating on file to assess eligibility and payment tiers before granting you any funding under this program. Only the primary benefit systems mentioned, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA, are covered by the Act. That is, people who receive additional federal assistance, such as SNAP food housing assistance using stamps. Under this particular piece of law, Medicaid, Medicare, and other programs are not eligible for the $2,800 payment. During talks, there was talk of extending the payment to some other programs, but ultimately, the focus was reduced to just those 4 key federal benefits. In summary, benefits from the VA and Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and SSI, are not covered by other federal aid programs, such as food stamps or TANF housing vouchers. Finally, be aware that scammers love to take advantage of large government payouts like this one. There have already been complaints of con artists attempting to trick people into thinking they can assist them in receiving these $2,800 payouts. A few typical frauds to be aware of that demand: money or fees up advance. Ignore any solicitation that asks you to pay a fee in order to get payment or gain quicker access to the funds. There are no costs associated with claiming you must supply personal information. Government organizations already possess your information. They do not divulge private information, such as Social Security numbers, unless you contacted them directly through unsolicited calls or emails. These agencies include the IRS, Social Security Administration, and if you did not request assistance, Virginia will not contact you by phone or email out of the blue regarding this payment. This is probably a scam trying to obtain your personal information. The requirement to pay taxes in advance on the $2,800 is another red flag. These one-time fees are not taken into account taxable income, hence, you ought not to be required to pay taxes on them in advance. Any unsolicited contact purporting to be from a government agency regarding these payments should be treated with extreme caution. Frequently, the caller ID is faked to appear to be a real agency number. If something sounds off, hang up, and give the official agency a call to confirm before giving any personal information.